And welcome to the Comic Corner. My name is Damon. He is TJ, aka Fat Thor. Buddy, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's good to see you. It's good to see everybody at home. Just been getting ready for the holiday season, man. Putting up decorations. Did the tree the other day, so it's holly jolly over here.
Holly jolly festives. We will get into that because we have a book that's lined up just for that good holiday season, but maybe with a little twist at the end. Here's a rundown for today. Fine. I'll do it myself. Absolute Superman #2 came out this week, and golly, is it a great follow up to that first issue? Very unique, but still very powerful. Jason Aaron killing it on that book. So now what? The Ultimates, #7, the beginning of a brand new arc, the follow up to the last one. That was a big kind of like we had a big moment at the end of Ultimate 6. So what do we do now? We'll talk about that. And as we mentioned, yes, tis the season. Tis the season, TJ. We have a book from Mikey Way, the brother of Gerard Way, the bassist of My Chemical Romance. And yeah, Mikey Way has done comic books before with DC's Young Animal Initiative, but he has a new book out with Dark Horse, and it's called Christmas 365, perfect for the holiday season. And we'll talk about that. But first, you may not have gotten any of these books because a lot of comic shops use Diamond distributors for their comic book needs. I know yours does. Mine does at times. And a lot of shops here in Connecticut uses Diamond for theirs. But last week it was, revealed that we're going to be a little delayed on some of the books out from Diamond because they're going through these. They shut down a warehouse. It's the holiday season. Fine, whatever. That's one. We're now in 2 weeks of Diamond delaying some books. And this happened at my shop. I confirmed it with you. I then went on social media to confirm with other people. Here's Mark Deering, who's an inker, and saying the same thing. Like, this is getting ridiculous, dude. And I know your shop had issues as well this week.
Dude, I was so upset. So I have unfortunately not been able to pick up my books regularly in like maybe 2 months. So I had a monster stack to go pick up, and I finally was going to pick it up, and I was so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna get like all the books I've missed out on, and then I'm gonna get the new books. I'm gonna have some fresh stuff to talk about on the show this week. And I go and they're scanning the million books that I have, and they're like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, we don't have we don't have the new books for this week." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" So I'm still behind, unfortunately. But yeah, I hate it, dude. This has happened to me multiple times before,
Yeah.
and it's just like it is so frustrating, and especially like doing what we do, it really just kind of throws a wrench into everything because I mean, we do a show every week, so at least try to stay up to date with what's going on, So it just really sucks, not only for enjoyment, but like I said, for like the kind of stuff we do, it all sucks. Diamond, come on, get your shit together.
Yeah, it's very, very, very frustrating because Diamond was, and at one point, like the distributor. They were the #1. Everything went through Diamond. You could do everything through Diamond. And now Marvel's with like Penguin Random House, DC's doing their own thing. So a lot of shops, even though Diamond did have their issues, still got their Marvel books, still got their DC books. But when you have the books that are solo just through Diamond, well, you didn't get them this week. I haven't got my boom books the last couple weeks. It's getting very frustrating. And that's all on Diamond. And it's not just like the fact that people aren't getting the books. Like sometimes when you do get your books, the boxes is coming in damaged and all the books are damaged. And you have to, it's a
Yeah.
problem. It's a
I'll also
totally,
say
it's a huge problem.
Yeah, and I'll also say too, I think it also creates a problem in people that are in, similar situations like me. And, unfortunately, not everyone can pick up books every single week, right? And like sometimes you kind of got to save up to get your books. And when these kind of delays happen, at least again, for me, like I usually budget out what my pull is going to be each week. So when things like that happen, it really kind of screws up how I'm budgeting for my books, and like obviously books is like a luxury kind of thing. So I think it also kind of hurts them in the sense of now I'm sure that there's some people who aren't picking up their books even longer because they can't afford to pick it up now because they have 10 books that were supposed to come out over the last 3 weeks that are now all at once. So I think that it creates a problem in that area too.
Yeah, it's getting very frustrating from a delayed point of view, just from when you're getting your books point of view. It's unacceptable. Honestly, it's just unacceptable in the end.
Do
And Diamond
better,
has to,
Diamond.
yeah, they just got to do better. And I heard, I reached out to some other folks too, and I was like, hey, have you been having issues with Diamond too? And I'm like, oh yeah, we are too, all over the country, all over the country. So big problem, fix it, because there's a reason why some people go digital. You don't have to worry about that. But, there's something about having a physical book in your hand. That's what we're hearing this for. We love having that physical book. You read it right in your hands. And when you take that away, you may turn some people off. So, Diamond, like we said, do better. Do better. Just come on. What are we doing? All right, let's talk about the big book for this. We actually have two big books this week. Two big books.
Yes.
This is Absolute Superman #2. Writer Jason Aaron, artist Rafa Sandoval, colorist Ulysses Areola, and letterer Rebecca Carey. Woo! Man, this book doesn't mess around. I really enjoy the dynamic that they made with Clark and Lois. Well, actually, it's not Clark, sorry, with Kal-El and Lois here in this world. But there's a lot of things that, like, when these Absolute and these Ultimate books come out, that you like, they do nice little nods, winks, teases to things of like the main canon past. Like, you may have like the Brainiac system, who's in charge of all the intel from all of the Lazarus officers and stuff. But seeing like the different versions of like Lois in this, and this is like her version of hanging out with Superman for the day for the first time. And it goes a little different than her hanging out with Superman and, that whole first day with him way back when. It's a little different, but it's still
A
just
little
as
bit.
exciting. And you get to see also some of the coolest aspects of this Superman, because we're trying to figure out like what makes him quote unquote super. Oh, also, I don't think he flies in this. He does the leap, he does the jump. So we're
Yeah.
going back to the classicness of that Superman. But we're almost looking at it, it's like, well, what makes him super with these powers? Is it this suit that's kind of like symbiotic alive in a way, with the cape that's able to do so many different things in a dust formation? Or is it him? Obviously it's him. It's his soul, it's his good heartedness that makes him Superman. So TJ, what did you think about the second issue?
Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. I think it was a great follow up to the first issue. Keeps the action high while also like peeling back the layers. Or like you said, like, oh, is it his suit? Is it the power? Blah blah blah. And I think they're playing this Absolute world so good. I think it's just I have so many questions, but in a good way. Like you said, I want to know more about this suit. I
Mm,
love the parallels and like the flashbacks that we see of him on Krypton, because that's another thing I think we haven't really talked too much about is like Clark Kal-El, whoever you want to call him, he actually
it's
grew up
Kal-El.
on
Yeah,
Krypton. Yeah,
yeah,
Kal-El. He grew up on Krypton. Like, not, he didn't leave as a baby. So like he
yeah,
is like more Kryptonian than our, regular Clark. So I think
yeah.
that aspect of it is just so freaking interesting. And I actually have a question for you, because you
Mm.
are more in tune to this whole Absolute. I honestly don't even really still get the two different universes. I just know like Absolute is different, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But so at the end of this, I don't want to spoil too much, but we kind of get a little thing with Lois kind of paralleling our regular like the Lois that we
Yeah.
know, right? So do you think that in this world there's like a kind of similar dynamic that we see in the Ultimates, in the sense of all of our
So
characters like inherently like are like linked somehow to their, or like a Peter Parker, for example, in the Ultimates, right? Like when he gets
I'll
the
say
suit,
this.
he feels
I'll
like he's
yeah.
missing his a part of his life. Do you think that's like kind of the same in this Absolute, or it's just a coincidence, like, oh, a wink to us as readers?
A little bit of both. Essentially, this is how this whole world plays out, right? So in our main canon, our main continuity, uh they've described how our universe and main continuity just kind of has like natural Superman energy to it, right? Like there's a sense of good, there's a sense of Superman energy. In the All In special, we see Darkseid die because he knows he wants to be something more. And essentially, kind of what happens is he dies and he goes into this reality, this world, this galaxy, and becomes the dark side energy that shapes this entire universe. So there's like more of just kind of
Ah,
like this natural pushback, this natural edge that you need to have to really survive. There's added adversity in the end. Instead of
okay.
like you're kind of given the tools to help you be successful, those tools are taken away and it's down to you to be
Mm,
successful. So you look at him in almost like, okay, Kal-El, what was his biggest kind of like advantage in main continuity? He had the Kents, right? He had that loving family home to grow up with. That was his advantage. Batman, it's very obvious. He has the wealth, he has the
mhm.
money. Obviously, has a tragedy behind it, but he has everything physically capable to make himself successful there. You take that away. And then Diana grew up in paradise.
Yeah.
Let's put in the opposite of paradise, throw her in hell, right? You give them added adversity, which is why we mentioned it also a little bit. We had a great interview, a little 2-on-1 chat with Jenna Anderson of Go Read Some Comics, also a Phase Hero. And we had a great chat, almost like she kind of diverted the question away because she's like, I don't want to see them fight, but it would be like a who would win a fight so far between these absolute versions and their regular in-universe versions, because the absolute versions so far, because of that added adversity, make you better. So in the end, is this all a big commentary that we almost need that dark side energy. We need that adversity to make us better than
Mhm,
what we would be if everything was just good.
mhm.
So that's kind of
Okay.
how this works.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, I had no idea. Like I said, I knew Darkseid created like the absolute, but I didn't know it was like that. I thought,
yeah,
I don't. Yeah, that's
there
crazy.
was like this universe and there wasn't like not much to it, and Darkseid just like kind of gave it that life and that
Yeah.
energy to really make it pop off.
Damn, I should have read that all in tie-in, man.
Oh
I need
no,
to
it's
go
the
back and
all in
grab that.
special. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that
the
really
all-in
set everything
special.
up.
Yeah, I need to
Yeah, that
go back and find
absolutely
that.
set everything up. So that set up this Justice League Unlimited, that set up this absolute line. So go read that
Mm,
because it really helps set it up in that way. But yeah, it's a cool book, man. This it's so far worth again. 3 for 3, 6 for 6, whatever you want to call it. All these absolute books have been great so far. Same thing with these ultimate books. I've been loving these dearly,
yeah,
dearly, dearly.
I
But
I
I
love the
love,
Superman.
yeah, I find it funny because he did mention like maybe a little bit of a spoiler, but at the end, like Lois is writing up her police report essentially, and how they normally do is they have like that Brainiac system that she's able to tell it this, and the Brainiac system's like, she's like, he's not a threat. He's like, so you're saying he is a threat? No, that's not at all what I'm saying. Noted. He is a threat. So she's like, fine, I'll have to do this myself. And she has to sit down and write. She's like, oh, I hate writing, which is kind of like a fun,
Mhm.
she's a journalist in the real world. So it's fun. I've been enjoying this. I know Jason Aaron mentions that when he made this entire storyline that he wanted this to be like his Jane Foster type of Thor story, but for Superman. So I'm still waiting for a little bit of just like that dagger to the heart moment. We're still very early on.
I was just about to say that. That makes me worried for our boy Kal-El, because if that's true,
Yeah.
he's about to go through it.
And I love, and we mentioned it before, but I love this aspect of him in the suit. It's almost just like that Fortress of Solitude always with him, where he's able to talk to someone, whether that be just like a regular AI voice or like the thoughts of his dad, whatever like we want to say it is. But it's a cool little back and forth we really haven't seen Kal-El ever have, and the suit's just cool. Like
So
we mentioned
cool.
it before, that before this run even came out, Jason Aaron brought it up how like, oh yeah, the dust as the cape is like the fallen dust to the ashes of his people, and it's just like always, I'm like, oh, that's so metal. That's so cool. So guys, go check this book out. Go read it. It's probably one of the heavier reads of the three. Like Absolute
Yeah,
Batman is
I'd
like
say
high
so.
flying action movie, very grounded. Absolute Wonder Woman is like a fun monster witch hunting book. And then this is sci-fi. Like we're big into the sci-fi in this, and it feels very more post-apocalyptic because we're seeing Kal-El go all around the world with Lazarus Corp just making a mess and a disaster out of everything. So I've really been digging this. It's a great third book that DC has. I'm excited for more of the stuff that they have coming out next year. But so far, yes, Absolute Comics, Peak Comics. We did it, TJ.
Love it. We did it. We made it.
The Ultimates, number 7. Writer Denny Camp, artist Juan Figueroa, colorist Federico Blee, and letterer VC's Travis Lanham. This is the start of a brand new arc. This picks up again naturally right after the events of the 6th issue, and you've read that 6th issue, and I assume
I
anyone
have.
here who is watching this may have read that 6th issue. Just spoilers ahead, because Tony Stark died. And yeah, he's dead. Asterisk. He's dead. Like he's gone, and they're dealing with it. So this issue is kind of cool because this is I don't want to say not too much happens, but a lot of it has to deal with the fallout of it. We get to see Steve and the Human Torch go find this old bar and sit down and be like, "Man, these kids we're with, they don't know. Like we're going to war. You've been in war. I've been in war. They don't know what they're about to get in." So they sit and have a good conversation about like, "Whew, here we go." We have a cool little moment also with Hawkeye and how they're dealing with this entire thing, doing what Charlie does, just going up and blowing up some things. Naturally, Charlie do what
Hell
Charlie
yeah.
do. We get to see a really cool America Chavez moment, how she's going around just trying to help people and being the light that she is, and how incredibly powerful she is in this Ultimate Universe, almost a little extra powerful, like the ability to like blink and things just happen. Very cool. And also at the end we get a very sad but touching but powerful moment between Doom and She-Hulk, because She-Hulk wants to go back to her island, and Doom's just like, you can't. You've seen too much. And all of the
You
Makers
know
people,
too
they know
much.
where you know too much. The Makers people know where you are and where you've been. They will find you. And I know you're a strong person, you're a strong gal, but they have the tools to make you crack whether you want to or not. You are not allowed to leave. And she has to really like come to terms with that and be like, well, crap, I'm kind of stuck here now. So it's a big like reflection, reactionary showcase of everything that happened in that fallout from that 6th issue. Solid, a good setting up point.
Well, I'm excited to read it. Number 6 blew my freaking socks off. So I can't wait to I just love this series so much. I think it is so good. It's been one of my favorites among the amazing books coming out from the Ultimate line. So I'm just excited to see where it goes. Even if I'll take a filler issue. I'll take a couple filler issues just because I'm so invested in this story. Take your time. Take your
Yeah.
time. Set up the runway.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it just filler issue. It's a proper setup, right? You
Yeah.
needed that big exhale after that bombastic issue we had back in number 6. Also, we had a nice moment between Ant-Man and the Wasp who go and attend, because this is like the 1-year anniversary of like all the attacks that happened in New York that killed Aunt May and all the Oscorp stuff and the Stark Foundation and all that thing. So they go to be like kind of part of the people, and it's so funny because it's like all the people hate the Ultimates because they see them as like the reasoning for all this chaos is going on, and they're looking around like, man, are we doing the right thing? And they're just like, yeah, no, we're doing the right thing. They just don't get it yet, but they will.
Yeah.
So it's a good also subtle point to remind us that like this Ant-Man and the Wasp couple is not the 616 couple. Like, this is not 616 Hank Pym. This Hank Pym is one who's seen the terrible things that he's done in another universe and knows he like that's not him. I'm me. That's him. So it really puts down and be like, yeah, we're doing the right thing. I know we are. I know it in my gut. It's a great issue. I again, Ultimate books. This Ultimates line in particular. I put this also as my second favorite book of the year. I put this down as my number 2 on our top 3 rankings. So again, go check out that episode and go check out this book because it's great.
Agreed.
Christmas 365. Miters Mikey Way, John Rivera, artist Peter Kowalski, colorist Brad Simpson, and letterer Josh Reed. TJ, this is essentially the book about a guy who's been worked too hard. He's at work all the time, feels like he's, not putting enough into his family. There's a little bit of distancing because of that. So what does he do? He talks to Santa Claus. And what does Santa say? You can't make it that like essentially he really wants this Christmas to be special. He wanted this Christmas to be like, this is going to be the thing that like saves the family, right? I'm going to put everything I have into it. But he had this bigger idea, right? One day isn't going to solve everything, right? One day in the year isn't going to solve it. But what if one day a month? What if the 25th of every month we celebrate Christmas? We do the whole 10 yards. Maybe we'll add some extra festive theming to it if it's Easter time or New Year's. We'll, have the babies on top or whatever. But hey, let's try that. And as you can see from this cover, TJ, maybe it's not working out too well for him. Maybe there's some extra chaos going on because there is some extra weird, maybe supernatural cursed element onto this as a back end. So while it may seem like, and it is on its forefront that it's like, yeah, it's a dad trying to really reconnect with his family and a big loving Christmas type of story, you got to have an extra twist to it. And there's something weird going on with these toys, dude. That's all I'll say.
Dude, creepy toys are like on like the top of my creep factor list. So I mean, hey, Christmas every month, that doesn't sound too bad to me. So that sounds super cool, man. You sold me.
Yeah, the art's solid. You get you feel bad for this dude. His name's Peter. You feel bad for him because you can tell he's putting a lot into his job, and then it's too much to handle. His coworkers suck. He's trying to get home in time for Christmas, and then his coworkers are out here intentionally like throwing him under the bus and just loading him up with backward to the point where he can't enjoy anything. He's being taken advantage of in all that regard. His boss doesn't respect him. It's a tough life for Peter. But
Poor Peter.
if you have Christmas on once a month, if you really get together and celebrate that, let's see. And also his oldest daughter very clearly is just kind of like fed up with it. So, but she seems to also enjoy the chaos just a little bit because it's different. It's a spice in it's, that's that teenager where you're like, ooh, dad get into a fight type of thing, right? Like it's the fun of that.
Is this a one shot, mini, ongoing?
It's a mini. Yeah, it's a mini.
Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Like I said, you sold me. That sounds cool.
Yep, this is from Dark Horse, Christmas 365, Mikey Way of My Chemical Romance, the bassist and brother of Gerard Way. So, hey, I need to find out when's the last time. I mean, it's been a hot minute since both Mikey and Gerard both have books coming out on the shelf at the exact same time. So that's kind of cool.
Shout out the Ways.
Hulk, number 19.
Baby.
This is the Legacy 800 issue. So a lot of writers, a lot of artists, a lot of stories, a lot of Hulk. TJ, tell me about it.
It's just good old monster fun, man. It's a real big culmination of everything Phil Kennedy Johnson has been setting up throughout this entire series. It's not the end or anything like that, but again, 800 kind of a celebratory issue, so you got to bring the excitement, you got to bring the spectacle, and boy do they deliver. Again, just huge big monster fights, Hulk ripping through stuff. We got some really cool surprises with some of our other characters that we've been following along. They kind of get a little big progression. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, I mean, it's just we've talked about this at length. We even talked about it with Phil Kennedy Johnson himself. This series is just so great. It's creepy. It's like if you're a fan of Hulk, this has everything you want. Creepy stuff, him fighting big monsters, like crazy monster transformations. Nick Klein on the art is just killing it. There is one splash page. It's like the third page of the book, like very early on. And it's like, slight spoiler here, Banner is like coming out of Hulk, like his back, and he's like fused with a huge tree. Like a tree is made of his body, and like these like monsters are eating the fruit that is like his organs. Like it is nuts, dude. Yeah.
That's wild.
Nuts. And like I said, Nick Klein just executes that craziness perfectly. So if you're a fan of like creepy body horror kind of stuff, again, Hulk as a monster fighting monsters, pick it up. And there's also, I didn't get a chance to read all of them yet. I was getting this in right before the show, right before we went on air, but there is also a bunch of really great Hulk stories included in this from a bunch of different writers. I know we got Torrin Grombeck on there, Danny Earls. I mean, what else do you need, man? You got so many. So yeah,
Hulk
this book,
baby.
Go pick it up.
Big Legacy 800. I'm always curious when it comes to those legacy issues, like how accurate that number is in the end. Because there's for a hot minute where you're like, all right, are we including like ultimate book lineups? Are we not including it? When are we starting at number one? Is it just for the Hulk or not? But hey, big celebration issue. It's not like Marvel 1000 or the Spider-Man 1000 type of thing.
Yeah.
When we'll actually get to the 1000 issues of things. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm a fan of these, celebratory-ish. Like the last one I remember, which was a while ago now, but was Thor during Donny Cates' era, and we got like Jason Aaron did a story, Walt Simonson did a story. So I'm a fan of that stuff. It's fun, and like I said, this has the added plus of the main story also being incredible. So go get it now.
It's incredible. Incredible Hulk is incredible. All right, here's our last book of the week. This is a Boom Studios title, Flavor Girls. Return to the Mothership. This isn't like our typical books, but we always like to shout out at least one indie book, one or two indie books a week. TJ, you did not get the opportunity to read this, and I'm a little sad because I think this would be right up your alley because Flavor Girls is kind of fun. You know, you get a little bit of like that. Yeah, you get a little bit of like that Powerpuff Girl vibes, but more like teen, 20-year-olds. But here's kind of the kicker. Here's the kicker. You ready? They all kind of have like these wands or powers that reflect fruits or vegetables. Like right up front, here's like the coolest one, right? The dragon fruit has a power of like a fruit that looks like a dragon. That's just cool, right? That's just straight up cool. Stranger one, an artichoke. What does an artichoke do? It kind of becomes more like a shield bubble around you, right? And you have passion fruit, so like more of kind of like exploding little seeds everywhere, very passion fruit-esque, right? So it's fun, it's silly, it's comic books, man. And this is an issue like this is not the first Flavor Girls run story anything. They already have their powers. We're all set in that. Now we're just dealing with some shenanigans. It's fun, dude. I think you would actually like really enjoy this, like on the down low.
I would absolutely love it. I love like weird ideas like that. So I think, like I said, when I thought it was an okra girl, he said, or so I thought I was like,
Okra.
what is that power? That's what I thought.
Fried okra. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, that'd be amazing.
but
Hush
I feel like,
puppies.
yeah, hey, I'm in.
The
But
power
I
of
feel
hush
like this
puppies.
is one of those things where I would think too much into this, like I do with a lot of things, because we kind of talked about this very quickly. But so I'm confused. So the dragon fruit, right? Does she
Hmm.
have the powers of a dragon or a fruit? And if it is
I'd
a
say it's
fruit,
closer to like a dragon, but it's like a dragon made of dragon fruit.
well, that's what I'm saying. So, like the passion fruit girl, right? Is her power passion or is it fruit? And if it's fruit, what does fruit power imply?
It's more of like it's like colored so you can see her, she's like in the
Yeah.
middle on the left. You have like these little like passion fruit colored dots all around. She like throws those and they like
No,
explode
yeah.
in things,
I
right? It's
get
like
it.
that. It's like passion fruit
I get
seeds.
it. I'm just saying, what's the
I don't
pattern
know.
here?
Here's
Like,
my
how
here's
do
my
we
thing.
how
If
do we
you could
decide the powers?
if you could have the power of any fruit, what fruit it is and then what power is it?
I have no idea. Pear, I
Give me one.
guess.
Come on.
Shout out my pears. Shout out all the pears.
What is up? Oh, actually,
I guess I
you
just
can
sit
have fun
there.
with this. No, 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 no. For a pair, you have the power to duplicate yourself. You become a pair of people, right?
Let's go. Yes. Honestly, that's
Mm.
sick. Yeah, shout out the pears, man.
See,
I'm a
because there's a
pear
lot of
for sure.
wordplay in here. You had a dragon fruit turns into a dragon,
Yeah,
right?
I like that. So what do
Man,
you got to pick something now. And it
I
better
don't
not
know.
be like an
See, now I
apple
put
or some
myself on the
shit.
spot.
Yeah,
See, now
yeah,
I
it's
put
not easy,
myself on
huh?
the spot. Because I'm like, all right, I'm down with bananas, but like, what are you gonna do with a banana? Just become extra slippery?
Hey, maybe you make people
Oh,
trip.
wait, hold on. Here's this. You get banana ice skates. So you're kind of like slipping around and you become
Mhm.
extra fast.
I'll allow it. I'll allow that.
Because I don't think there's no like wordplay with bananas.
Banana. Yeah, I have no idea. My next thought was blueberry, which puts me in the same predicament because, like,
Oh, a
what the hell? I
blueberry,
guess
the
there's like
power
just
of
like little
blue.
bombs.
You just have the
You know,
power of blue.
blueberries
Everything
technically
becomes
aren't
blue.
blue. You know,
Everything becomes
blueberries
blue.
technically aren't blue.
What are they? Like a deep purple?
I'd say I'm colorblind, so I don't know, but
Oh dear.
I read that somewhere, so
Not the
I
colorblind
know
telling me
it's
that something's
true.
not blue.
Yeah, if you read it on the internet, you know it's true, Damon. So, and I saw it
Oh
on the
god.
internet. I saw it. Someone wrote it, so it has to be true. So,
Oh man. We talked more about this book than I thought. But yay, Flavor Girls, go check this out. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll like this, DJ. I really think you
it'll
will.
definitely
It's
spark
adorable art too.
conversation. I'll tell you that. If you, whether whatever you think about the book, it'll definitely spark a conversation.
All right. So long as we actually get our books next week. Here's
Yeah,
our next week polls.
hopefully.
It says Lilith number 3 on here. Lilith number 2 hasn't even come out yet. So skip that one. Action Comics 1079 is out for me. Minor Arcana number 4. Hopefully, please, fingers crossed, we get that. And as we've mentioned, the ultimate and absolute titles have both been fantastic. So Ultimate X-Men. I know it's kind of like it's the weird redhead stepchild, if you will, of all of these like ultimate books. It's the one that people either really like or really don't like.
See,
But
I don't
us
get
here
it,
on the
man.
show, we dig it, man. We
Yeah, we
dig it.
love it.
TJ, what
I
you
don't
got?
get it, man. I don't get it. Like I said, even if you don't like love it, I don't see like why you would feel strongly against it. But I mean, yeah, we got pretty much the same polls again. We usually do have similar, but I have the inclusion of Incredible Hulk number 20. So we just talked about 19 today. Scarlet Witch 7. Go ahead.
I
Like,
also totally forgot. Big issue next week. This is Ultimate Universe 1 year in. This is the
ooh.
1 year kind of reflection, looking back on the last 12 months and also looking ahead to next year, where we will get our first Ultimate Wolverine story in this issue next week. So go check that out.
So that's like a what do they call those? Like a side, like a one shot kind of thing.
It is a one shot.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna pick that up too. Scarlet Witch 7, which I have been behind on. Like I said, I just picked up books, so I'm super excited to catch up on that. I love Scarlet Witch. Space Ghost number 8, one of my favorites, coming out next week. That's gonna be fantastic. And then I got my X books, so Uncanny X-Men number 7 and X Factor number 5, which I've talked about before. Been loving all those X books. I got the Psylocke one this week too, so I'm excited to check that out. And Mystique also, that looks really, really interesting. So I'm excited to check that out. And I also, if it's okay with you, Damon, I wanted to give a quick shout out to another book. This isn't a recent book, but it's a book that I'm a fan of, and it's holiday season. I wanted to shout out really quickly Taft Sturgeon, Holiday in the Stars. So it's a book that came out, I want to say, about a year ago. It's about a space adventurer who comes across Santa Claus to save Christmas. And it's just a super fun story. It's one that I really enjoy and really love around this time of year. And that's going to be written by David Crispino and drawn by Tony Gregori. So I know I just threw that on you there, Damon, but yeah, I just really love that book. Perfect for the holiday season. So I just wanted to give that suggestion to everybody before we get out of here.
One last suggestion as well. You do an extra, I'll do an extra.
Yeah, do
This is
it.
also from Marvel. I am very excited for this animated Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show that's coming out in January. And the official prelude comic for said show is out next week. This is official storytelling. This is our first kind of look into this. What if Peter Parker in the MCU was, instead of influenced and mentored by Tony Stark, what if in this universe, what if it was Norman Osborn? Ooh, and that's essentially what your friendly your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is. So go pick that up if you're interested in that show. If you want to get like a little bit of a leg up to be like, hey, I know the backstory on this. Go check that out. It's kind of cool sometimes when a show gets an official tie-in comic. We don't get too many of those anymore. So absolutely go pick that up. Well, that'll do it for this issue of the Comic Corner. TJ, where can people find you on the interwebs while the Twitter's just imploding?
While it still exists, you can find me at the usual spots at _Fat Thor to hear all my comic ramblings. You can find me obviously here on Agents of Fandom Comic Corner. I haven't been popping up too much on the main podcast lately, but that is going to change back around, so you'll probably see my face up on there. And you can also check me out over at CBR. I'm doing lists every week. I just did 10 worst Batman costumes, 10 best Ghost Rider series, 10 most powerful. I'm doing a bunch of lists. You want to learn more about all these great books? Then you can come check out some of those too. They're okay. They're pretty cool.
10 best Batman no moments. Number 1, Batman jumps from the moon.
Easily. Batman jumps from the moon, and then absolute Batman. That's the list.
That'll do for this issue of the Comic Corner. You can find me on, I'm not even promoting that anymore. You can find me on Threads at Damon.Graham. You can find me on Blue Sky at DamonGray.BlueSky. Whatever those stupid handles are. So long as I use social media, just go for it on any of those. As always, make sure you go out and go find and support your local comic shop. Go to local comic shop or comicshoplocator.com to find your local comic shop. Go pick up some comics. Until next time.